The Xbox Summer Sale is in full swing, and you have until the end of August to take advantage of these insane sales. Last week I did cover some incredible games, but this week I wanted to actually bring you a list of 15 huge games that you can pick up for less than £10. From AAAs to indie titles, there is a wide variety of different genres, so no doubt I will be making your backlog even larger, so again I must apologise for that. Before we do dive in though, as always I do give away a free Xbox game every single week on these sales videos. All you have to do is leave a comment below about anything relating to Xbox. Congratulations to last week's winner. I do apologise for making that backlog bigger, but I'm sure I can make up for it by providing you with another game key. Just hit me up on our Discord server and I will get that game right over to you. Now, with that out of the way, let's dive right into the games that you need to pick up right now within this Xbox Summer Sale. First up, and available for just £5.58 with a massive 85% off, you have the Frostpunk Complete Collection, and it's one of the most emotionally intense city builders that you'll ever play. It is set in a frozen post-apocalyptic world, and it does force you to lead a desperate society that's clinging to survival. But it's not all about resources here, it's actually about the moral decisions that go along with it. This edition that I'm highlighting today includes all of the DLC as well, that being The Last Autumn, On the Edge and The Rifts, each of them adding critical lore and mechanical depth. I keep coming back to this one because it doesn't pull punches. You feel the weight of every single choice. Few strategy games out there really blend tension, narrative and mechanics this effectively, and at this price point is easily one of the best value packages available on Xbox. If you love games that challenge both your planning skills and your conscience, this one is unmissable. The Darkest Tales is a pretty cool and twisted fairy tale platformer where childhood stories turn nightmarish. In this one, you play as a grizzled teddy bear trying to rescue his owner by journeying through corrupted storybook realms. It's very inventive, weirdly emotional, and just surprisingly challenging, and with it only being just £7, it's an utter bargain, especially for those of you who love dark fantasy and atmospheric side-scrollers. What I really loved about this one though is just how it plays with your expectations. One moment you face off against monstrous versions of Little Red Riding Hood and Pinocchio, but underneath all of that charm is a surprisingly tight action platformer. There's a thoughtful story here as well, and it does give a ton of heart beyond the gimmick. The visuals are pretty rich and imaginative, as you can probably see on screen now, and that soundtrack leans perfectly into that eerie aesthetic. It was a lovely little surprise when I did manage to play it out of my backlog, and I highly recommend it if you get the chance. At just £3.74, which is 75% off this week, Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition is the kind of game that defines an entire console generation, and it was easily in my top 5 games of the last generation, which really says something. It's visually breathtaking with hand-painted art styles and one of the most moving soundtracks you'll ever hear, but beneath all of that style is serious substance. There is everything from fast-paced platforming, tight mechanics, and also exploration that constantly rewards you. This edition though refines everything as well and adds some brand new areas and abilities, polishing an already incredible experience. It's still one of my go-to recommendations when someone asks for something more beautiful, challenging and heartfelt, or if anyone just wants a great 2D platformer. If you've never played it before, now is absolutely the time to do so, and if you have, this edition is still worth revisiting in 2025. I have said it many times, I absolutely adore Lord of the Rings, and this next game is also one of those incredible experiences that offers an absurd amount of content for almost nothing. Middle-earth Shadow of War Definitive Edition is going for just £6, and you get not only the base game but also all of the DLC, and it's packed with massive battles, rich lore, and one of gaming's most unique features known as the Nemesis system. If you are unfamiliar, this system tracks enemy orcs, remembers your past interactions with them, and then evolves them in a response to your actions. It's utterly brilliant. You also add in some fortress assaults, gear customization, and epic showdowns, and it really becomes clear why this game was built for replayability. I keep returning to it because the world here feels utterly alive, and it's one of the best Lord of the Rings experiences we have available on Xbox to date. It's huge and it's ambitious, and finally received the update and balance that it truly deserved, and it's a real shame that Monolith Studios closed later last year. For just under £10 in this summer sale, you're getting a lightning-fast retro FPS that's soaked in Warhammer 40,000 vibes, and to be honest, it's bloody brilliant. Boltgun is what happens when you take the brutal sci-fi universe and shove it into a game that plays like Doom games from the 90s, so you can expect fast, bloody, and gloriously chaotic moments. It's not pretending to be deep either, it's pretending to be fun, and it absolutely nails it to a T. You're a space marine with a chainsword and a literal boltgun, mowing down heretics and demons at a breakneck pace. The levels here are very tight, weapons feel satisfying, and the combat just never lets up, and it's really great to dive into, especially with the second entry coming later next year. The pixel art meets 3D style also gives it such great aesthetic punch, and the sound design makes every hit feel heavy. Whether you're a long-time 40,000 fan just like me, or just love old school shooters, this one is an easy recommendation. Talking of an easy recommendation, do make sure to subscribe down below for more Xbox content, as I do upload every single day. I have actually realised that over 76% of you have not subscribed, and it's a massive help in bringing you the best news, reviews and game updates and so much more that I possibly can if you just hit that button. With that out of the way though, thanks so much for your support so far this year, and let's dive into the rest of the incredible deals for this week. This next game I have mentioned here on the channel before, and it's a physics-based first-person puzzler set on a moon base, but it's where you manipulate gravity and magnetism to solve some increasingly complex challenges. You kind of have to think of this game like Portal, but with a slower pace, but even more atmosphere. What I loved about Relicta though is just how it never holds your hand, as it trusts you to figure everything out for yourself, and that does make every solution feel very rewarding here. The story does unfold subtly though through different logs and visual cues, and the sci-fi setting is genuinely well designed here. While it did fly under the radar, especially on its release, the mechanics are incredibly rock solid, and the level design is deeply satisfying. If you enjoy games that flex your brain while immersing you in a sci-fi world, or you missed claiming this game when it went on Xbox Live Gold, Relicta is a steal at its price point of just £1.59 in this sale. With the recent notice that WRC is going back to Nakon, I fully doubt we'll see another racing game in this series from EA. But for me, WRC Generations is so much better than EA WRC, and this week you can grab the WRC Loaded Edition for 80% off, and that's for just under 10 quid. WRC Generations does have a very different feeling though compared to other rally experiences on the Xbox marketplace, but for me the big highlight are the varied stages in this one and the amount of content you get right out the gate, and that's including the base game alone. The career mode is a very big draw here as well, as you get to manage crew, their morale, salaries, manufacturer relationships, attempt sponsorship objectives throughout different seasons, and then even perform R&D as you make your ranks. It's a really good rally experience, and I do recommend it a lot this week, especially if you're a racing fan. Yes, this next game is absolutely real, and it's as ridiculous as it sounds. Squirrel with a Gun is sitting at just under £10 right now with a 40% discount, and is easily one of the most chaotic sandbox experiences out on the market, and I bloody love it. In this one, you do play as a squirrel that's armed with firearms, jetpacks, and a thirst for mayhem, causing havoc in suburbia. Honestly, I did actually pick this one up expecting a meme, just like Goat Simulator, but instead it turned out to be a genuinely entertaining experience. The traversal mechanics are surprisingly smooth, and that goofy humour lands more often than not. This one is a bit janky for sure, but that's kind of part of the charm here. You'll be stealing donuts, hijacking drones, and then doing slow-mo backflips with pistols in your hand. If you're after something that's completely off the rails and unapologetically dumb in the best way possible, then this is definitely worth grabbing. Ubisoft's Skull and Bones has definitely had its ups and downs for sure, but now with a whopping 80% off, bringing its price down to just £9, it's never been a better time to jump aboard, especially as there's a ton of incredible improvements that have been made so far, and also being made in the upcoming seasons. No, this isn't Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag though, but it does carve out its own lane with some pretty deep naval combat and open sea exploration. I have actually spent a good amount of time on this one in the past couple of months, and while it's more system heavy than action driven, once it clicks with you, it can be genuinely satisfying. You'll be managing your crew, customizing your very own ship, and then taking on different factions across the Indian Ocean in either PvE or PvP. I know it's always going to be mixed as it's an online only experience, and it was lacking what we kind of expected at its launch. But with the brand new seasons due to bring us island exploration, hand-to-hand combat, and so much more, it really is the best time to grab this one before those awesome updates arrive. Down to just £3 with a massive 85% off, Dogma Dark Arisen is one of the most underappreciated action RPGs of the past generation. With deep combat mechanics, massive creatures for you to take down, and also a party system that allows for endlessly customizable AI companions, this one has some serious depth about it. What always kept me coming back for more though is its combat. Of course, the Dragon's Dogma games are always known for being very weighty, dynamic, and also encouraging your experimentation. Whether you're climbing a cyclops, flinging fireballs, or switching classes mid-run, the gameplay always stays fresh throughout your entire playthrough. This version though also includes the bitterly difficult but fantastic Dark Arisen expansion, which adds some brand new locations and also some pretty brutal enemies. If you've been sleeping on this cult classic, now's the time for you to jump in, especially for under £3, as it offers more adventure than games 10 times its price tag. Rollerdrome actually arrived back onto Xbox a couple of months ago now, after being delisted for quite some while, and to be honest, I'm actually so glad you get to experience this awesome game once again. This is basically an arcade action gem that feels like a hybrid between Tony Hawk's Pro Skater and also Max Payne, and I bet you never expected those two games to be in one sentence. It throws you into an arena where every dodge, jump and trick is your fuel for firepower, and time slows as you land some stylish mid-air headshots in the best way possible. Every single time though, you will feel yourself getting better with every single attempt, and you'll be mastering the flow between skating and shooting every given moment. It is one of those rare games that nails its core idea and commits to it completely, and it was so underrated at the time of its launch. At just £6.24, it's a relative bargain, especially in this summer sale. Obsidian's Pentiment is currently 50% off, bringing it down to just £7.50, and while it's unlike anything else on the Xbox store, it's an unforgettable narrative experience. Set in 16th century Bavaria, this is a murder mystery meets history lesson, all drawn in the style of medieval manuscripts and woodcut prints. There is no combat here though, it's just deep dialogue, impactful choices, and an intricately crafted world. Pentiment though does have a ton of confidence about it, and it really gets held in such high regard by many of you that finally try it. It can be pretty slow, but it does get incredibly immersive, especially if you let it pull you in. Your choices shape not only the outcome of the game, but the legacy your character does leave behind as well. It's a passion project through and through, with detailed lore, beautiful writing, and a setting you won't see anywhere else within the gaming sphere. If you're tired of cookie cutter games, Pentiment is your quiet masterpiece, and this really is Obsidian at their very best. One of my favourite surprises within the RPG space of the last generation was Greedfall, and it blends 17th century colonial fantasy with a kind of branching story and character depth that you expect from classic BioWare games. You basically take on the role of a diplomat that's exploring a mystical island, and you'll be negotiating with different factions, uncovering loads of secrets, and then making world-shaping decisions. Right now, it's just £6 thanks to a staggering 80% discount, and whilst it's not without its rough edges, there's a real charm and ambition with this one. I do love how it lets you build your relationships, shift your alliances, and then tackle quests in multiple different ways. If you did miss the golden era of choice-driven RPGs, or you just want to experience an absolute gem that's very reminiscent of the old BioWare games, then Greedfall is a great reminder of how good they can actually be, and it really punches far above that low price point. I don't think there'll ever be a day where I don't recommend this next game, and yes, The Witcher 3 is still that good, and this complete edition I'm highlighting today includes both massive DLCs for just £7. Honestly, to me, that's just almost too generous with the amount of content you're getting right now, and it's one of the best bargains that you can pick up in the Xbox store. Even years later, it does remain one of the most detailed, beautifully written RPGs that you can play on your Xbox consoles. From monster contracts to village feuds and love affairs, every quest here feels meaningful, and it's still easily in my top 10 games of all time, hence why I got that lovely special edition controller when Xbox finally released it. For me, it's the world that stands out most, as going into the town of Novigrad for the very first time is absolutely astonishing. If by some reason you've never jumped into The Witcher 3, this is the definitive version, and you're doing yourself a disservice by never playing this one before. If you're looking for something that's slower but more relaxing, then Summer in Mara offers a cozy farming and adventure mix that's more about exploration and kindness than its combat. I did a little bit more digging for this one, as I've actually never played it before, but it seems to have some fairly decent reviews across the board on every single console. Basically, you'll play as Koa, a young girl caring for her island and then helping out some quirky characters across a colourful tropical world. From the reviews, it does seem like this one's all about its rhythm, charm, and its chill vibes, and at just its low price at £5.24, it looks like a great and peaceful change of pace, especially from the usual AAA fodder. What drew in a lot of players though was obviously its art style and its tone from what you can see on screen now. It kind of feels like a gentle blend of Stardew Valley and Wind Waker, and while it's a smaller game, it looks to have some real heart about it. If you're looking for something low stress and heartwarming between heavier titles, then this one hits the right spot, and I'm certainly picking up in this week's summer sale. So what game are you looking to purchase in the sale, or have you already picked up some games? You'll have to let me know down below. Remember to like this video if you did enjoy, and subscribe if you want to see more Xbox content every single day. Whilst you're here though, why don't you check out my most recent video on screen now, as I covered the 12 brand new Xbox and Game Pass games that are arriving this week, and to see if any of them are worth your time and money.